Hey, what's up, you guys? I want to cover this one more time for some people that have been asking how to set up for lining. Um, let's start off with a needle. One thing I do is just give it like a normal bend, slightly in the middle, and this is my preference. I've done this always. I sort of bend the needle itself down a little bit. And I know some people have been asking about that, the way I bend them and the best way to do it. Like I said before, I use these little cotton pads. Or actually these ones, these cosmetic pads, I just cut them into little pieces and use them as grommets instead of having a full paper every time. These are number 14 rubber bands. The best way to do it is just to put it around the binding post like this, give it a twist, and then slap it over. There you go. And always make sure, like normally, that the needle's not rubbing on the inside. I usually set it so that it's just barely inside the tube. Yeah. So as far as tuning goes, let's say if this was to be a small liner, for me that's like single needle up to maybe like a type 5 or something like that. I usually use the smallest magnet size. Put it on. And with the smaller magnets, you have to use like a medium to short stroke so that it actually has enough time to hit before it switches directions. Voltage is really kind of depending on your hand speed, but usually with the smaller magnets, I try not to run too fast, otherwise you'll get a blowout. Also, it gives the armature bar enough time to actually hit, so it's not just sitting there on you. And one size up, let's say for like 5s up to even like 13, 14s, I'll use just the medium-sized magnet, which is this one right here. This is pretty much my all-arounder. I use this almost, I would say 90% of the time I'm using the second magnet. The first one being the smallest. I'll use this for lining almost everything except for fine line. If I'm pushing something really big, like I would say a 14 and up, I might go up one size to the third size. Or if it's like a tough area, like the neck or somewhere around the kidneys, something like that, so one where it's kind of stretchy and it's having a hard time going in, then I might bump up the size. But normally the second size magnet is pretty much good for mostly everything. The biggest difference, I would say though, probably between the liner and the shader is just the stroke setup itself. The liners tend to have a medium to a shorter stroke. That tends to smooth things out a little bit and gives you a bit more of a smooth line. Some people do like longer strokes on their liners, and it tends to be a bit more punchy. So it could maybe help you get into those rough areas too, where it's really elastic. Instead of going up one size with a magnet, maybe just open up the stroke just a little bit, just so that it has a little bit more momentum coming into the skin, and it'll help you get those big lines in there easier in those hard areas. But for the most part, the biggest difference between the liner and shader setup is normally stroke length. Medium to short is usually good for everything. Long strokes tend to be a bit rough sometimes, but if you're used to that, that's fine. As far as voltage goes, that's really pretty much comes down to preference. What I do recommend though is start off slow and slowly work your way up, and let's see what works best for getting into the skin. A lot of times people tend to overpower their machines and run them really fast and thinking it's going to pull a better line, but that's not always the case. The ink still needs time to actually be able to flow into the skin, and a lot of times you're just sort of overworking the line work. You end up with scarred lines and or grayed out lines. So same thing with the magnets too. Where really the second magnet is pretty much good for everything. If you do need to go up, maybe try lengthening the stroke a little bit first, and then if still you need more power, then jump up a magnet size. But yeah, hopefully this helps everyone out, and if you need any more tips or anything, just let me know. Bye.